What is up, everybody? My name's Chad Brock, and you are watching episode 2 of Dock Talk. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Dock Talk, Kayaks Dock Talk, episode 2. We've got some very special guests tonight. We've got 4 of us in the house. We're going to go around the room. We will start with Mr. Gardner, and you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you. Then we'll go to Russell and Mr. Cassidy.
Hey guys, Jason Gardner, part of Jackson Kayak team, also fish team captain for Three Bells Outfitters, located here in Maine, and primarily fish up in the Northeast, but try to get down the whole East Coast when I can.
Russell Johnson right here from southwestern Pennsylvania, about an hour south of Pittsburgh. Fish tournament trails locally in Pennsylvania and nationally through the Hobie BOS, formerly KBF, and a few others. Fish any new body of water that I can.
And Mr. Cassidy.
Microphone check 1 2. Here we go. You good?
We got you. You're here. We can hear you. You're live.
All right. Yeah. Jason Cassetty coming to you live from Central Indiana, originally from Indianapolis area. Fish any national event that I can get into, BOS, KBF, bass. Anything where I can slide the plastic into and wet a line, we're going to do it.
There you go. And you guys are all 3 fresh off the big event at Winnie, the Hobie BOS event. Jason Cassidy, you was 10th. Russell, you was 11th. And Jason Gardner, you was 47th. So kind of tonight what we're going to do is really break down how things went, what you guys seen out there on the water, and kind of talk about patterns and different things. Jason, Gardner, you're the most familiar with the body of water, living in that area. So I'm going to kind of let you break it down a little bit and tell us a little bit about the lake and the type of venue that it is, what people would be looking for while they're out on the water.
Yeah, so Lake Winnipesaukee is actually one of the biggest lakes we have up here in New England. It's known for having a lot of big smallmouth. It's got a few areas where you can find some largemouth, but for the most part, everyone that goes there is fishing for largies. Primarily, a lot of rocks, and then you can find some sporadic grass and coves. The one thing that aggravates people the most is typically where you'll find largemouth and other bodies of water in the Northeast. You find rock bass here, and you can go find they'll do rock bass tournaments there. They're invasive, so they actually kill them, but they'll catch tens of thousands of them in a tournament, and they just kill your bait. But overall, we try to get at least a tournament a year up in the East Coast, up on Winnipesaukee. The other challenging part is the boat traffic. It's insane up there. It's one of those places that you really got to kind of keep your head on a swivel and practice the buddy system almost a little bit, and just always be watching out for boats.
Right on. Jumping down here to Russell, when you guys was practicing, what was some of the things that you guys were seeing out there?
Out there is no body of water. I mean, consistency, the water was gem clear. When you're on the main lake, you can see down about 18 feet. When you got into some of the back bays, it was more, I can't say muddy. It had particles in the water that were floating. It still let you see 5-6 feet in the water. When you got deeper back in the coast, it was almost like, I would say, what I recognize here is like carp spawning and just disturbing the areas. I chose to go for smallmouth and fish deep rock structures that are near a flat so they can pull up and push bait fish on. Primary in that lake is smelt and some other small bait fish. When you found them, it seemed like they were just off of a drop of a flat. And every once in a while, you'd have a couple stragglers come up on it. We targeted them with swim baits.
All right, Mr. Cassetty, you netted the big one of the derb. So tell us a little bit about how that all went down.
Well, as far as big fish, just because I played numbers game. I knew there's big largemouth in there. I caught some good largemouth during the 17, 18, 19-inch variety, but they were so few and far between that I just couldn't think on that. And if I was in last place in this event, I'm going to get 20, 21 points. So I kind of played this safe, bunted. And on day 2, I went to a spot that one of these hazard areas, like Jason was talking about, you got to have your head on a swivel because there's boats just flying around everywhere, giant wake boats. It's a hugely popular recreational lake. And I'd stumbled across it on day 1. I caught a couple upgrades and just left it for day 2. And when I went out there on day 2 after a very small limit morning, they were just smashing it was almost every cast. If there was a hump, and I could be in 30 feet and cast to 28. If I was in 50 feet and casted to 40, or 20 feet and casted to 5, any kind of hump, there was a fish on it. And most of them were 6, 17 inches. And I'm just looking at my guard. I'm like, okay, well, there's one over here, one over here. The sun was super bright that day. It was, clear sky and clear water. So you could see in the shallow hump from a distance. If it was 20 or less, you could see it really just from the water. And I just happened to get to go past the spot. I didn't see it on my map. Didn't show up as hump, but it was a light spot. I just kind of flicked a small jig there, and there was hump, and when I went in, Lord have mercy, heavy. I was like, this ain't small. That lake got what I had. And when it just kind of little half butted itself out of the water, a little nervous. I was reaching for that real quick, and it was 21 inches, and she was thick, super thick. I was surprised to see a largemouth, and there was a party going on there, and I'm sure everybody heard me because I did my best Mike Iaconelli impression. I was hooting and hollering all over the lake.
Nice. So let's talk about some of the tackle you guys were using, and you guys can also ask each other questions. That's kind of the fun thing with this format that we've got here. It's not just me asking the questions. You guys can grill each other. You guys all seen some different things and have been through the experience. I'm just the ringleader. So let's talk about some of the tackles. Show off if you guys have your tackle with you, where you can show it off, and let's kind of talk about that. And whoever wants to go first, just jump on in.
I'll go. So I know day 1, I knew for the most part everyone was fishing shallow where I was. And one of the spots that I have out there is a deep area off of what actually Jason said. It was a hump where it comes up to 10 feet and it drops down into like 30 to 45 feet. I went up to a 45-foot area, and I was actually drop shotting out with some flatworms. I had to tie a little bit higher leader on than I normally do. It was roughly about a 2-foot leader. And I was out there, found just a whole bunch of spaghetti on my fish finder. So, just dropped down and was able to find some fish. but typical with drop shot, keeping them pinned is kind of hard. So it was a little bit of a rough day on day one. And then day two, it was a little different. I knew everyone was shallow, and so I wanted to go try to find an early limit. And so I went to another area that I had found fish cruising the day before, but they just really weren't interested in taking bait. So I went out there, and I was actually throwing big TRDs and green pumpkin. It was weird because it was almost like bedding fish. Like I was in one spot where I was in like 5 feet of water, and I just looked down next to the Nar, and there was a branch there, and there was a 17. It was my first fish of the day, just like sitting there watching me, and I literally just dipped my rod over and dropped it down into the water and watched him take it. And I spent like the first hour just doing that in this flat, and caught a couple 17s, 16s. And it was a pretty good day. And then I tried to go back deep again to see if I could find that school of fish, but I was just never able to find him. So after that morning bite, I kind of just really struggled. When you're sitting kind of middle of the pack, it's hard, right? You don't want to go catch 17s. You need to go find 20s, and it's a lot harder to go find. So that's what I was doing the whole time. Spent 2 days drop shot and then Ned rigging.
Jason, I'm getting some static of mine in a restaurant. Were you on the same flat that a guy in a red boat was?
If you're talking about one of our teammates, we talking about Josh. So I was actually trying to think. I think I was the only one out there. Actually, I know day 2 Josh came out, but we were fishing different areas. He was fishing a lot closer to the ramp, and I was fishing kind of like the main lake, but there was a cove over on the main lake. But I happened to see Josh over there, and Shane, and a bunch of other guys.
Well, I'm talking more to Cassetty. Were you on a flat with a guy that stayed deep in a red boat? And you had 2 guys with you in NARS?
He's in a big rig for sure, because he's in my old red big rig.
Oh yeah.
I heard you mention Mike, and there was a guy out there I didn't know that was getting in some good fish. So
I couldn't hear you, bro.
Real close to me. But no, I can't say this enough. As you got Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Jason in Maine. Anytime I get a chance to go up north to upstate New York, or now it's New Hampshire, I haven't found any prettier lakes. And I mean, I've fished Chickamauga, I've fished all down through the Tennessee Valley, out west on the Mississippi. There's nothing prettier than up north Lake. Lake George is probably one of my favorite, but Winnipesaukee is super high on the list.
Yeah, it's definitely a great place to go fishing. I used to like, in the morning, I'd just launch and just kind of watch the sun come up and whatnot. And, there's some, as much as the boat traffic's bad and really recreational, with some of those boats are beautiful. I mean, there's like big yachts almost out there. I mean, I couldn't believe the size of the boats. But yeah, we got some beautiful bodies of water out there.
Now, Russell and Gardner, you guys stayed together. Let's hear a little bit about that, where you guys stayed at and the accommodations.
Airbnb, kind of finding the places a little bit out there. Jason was in control of housing. We just had a nice little house with 4 guys in it. Billy from the Jackson team stayed with us. Both me and him traveled up from Pennsylvania. Carpooled. Both of us in the NARS. Pre-fished together. Probably maybe 15 minutes from the lake where we stayed at, but very remote. Gorgeous house. Jason brought down some lobsters from Maine. So I guess I'm always camp chef somewhere.
We'll have to get back out there with you guys if there's going to be stuff like lobster showing up. That's just, you get these pictures full of Orion coolers full of lobsters, and it's like, Man, I need to start fishing out of state some more again.
Hey, it pays to have friends. Right? And I got friends of mine at work that all lobster, so I was able to get lobsters for like under $6 a pound. So I got no problem bringing some up.
Now, overall, first day of the event, you guys are looking back at this thing. You show up at the ramp. What was your area? Was it pretty crowded? Not crowded at all? I mean, a lot of people going out from where the same places you guys were going out.
Mike Iconelli, the three of us left from there. Mike was a joy to be at the ramp with, like solo one-on-one. We honestly made a bet that there was a bridge kind of close to where we launched at, and if any of us had 100 inches, we had to jump off the bridge. None of us came close to jumping off the bridge. The second day, we had 2 more guys join us, and the area we're fishing, Mike stopped well outside of that, what me and Bill had found, and I didn't see another kayak competitor close. And I mean, from 5 o'clock in the morning till about 9:30 is when the first jet skis were coming out. After that started, that's when you just start seeing boat traffic. So, but where we were, the boats couldn't get really close to us.
And for the record, both Russell and Jason Cassetty were both ahead of Mike Iconelli at the end of the standings. I believe Mike Iconelli ended up, what do we have? Scrolling down. So Jason Cassetty was 10th, Russell you was 11th, and then Mike Iconelli was a little bit further down. So we got a couple Jackson Kayak guys over top of the Elite Series Pro. You can't beat that. Can't beat that. That's got to feel good for both you guys, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it was
Now, Jason Cassetty, how about you? When you where you was launching at, you have much boat traffic or anything like that going on?
Yeah, we did. Nicole goes with me. Motivated. We're playing some. I only passed like 1 or 2 kayakers. We got there and I'm like, man, that parking lot looks busy. And Lovejoy up for me, and we had about 12, 13. So there, and everybody stayed. It's kind of, half of us went to the left of the launch, half of us went to the right. But it was pretty busy, and it stayed the same.
So, looking back at this event, hindsight's always 2020, and that was one of the big things that we talked about with the guys a couple weeks ago on the first episode. What do you guys view as, looking back at it, what would have you changed?
I know for me, I kind of had my mind made up on where I was fishing right off the bat. Right? I know I talked to a couple of the team guys, and I had areas over by where Russ was fishing, and I had the area that I ended up in. I typically do really well, but I had my mind made up whether I was on good fish or not. That's where I was fishing instead of really kind of going out trying to check some of my backup spots. There weren't many people where I was fishing, which I like. But I think the mistake I made was in practice. I was able to find some fish, but they were really. I had to cover a lot of water to find them. Like they weren't packed up in one area. And, really, I probably should have just changed spots and probably gone to one of my other backup spots that I've typically done well.
How about the rest of you?
Go ahead, Russ.
I'm a ride or die by smallmouth, so I wouldn't change what I fished for. I enjoyed. I mean, big for me. Yeah, we're out there to win a tournament. Happen to any of us, it can happen. A good solid first day. You can't. So I spot. We left early. We were looking for bigger fish on day one, knowing we needed it for day two because we didn't have much else. But looking back and being able to fish with my friends and be out in a beautiful new lake, I really wouldn't change anything. You know, would I like to come in with $5 grand? Absolutely. But just at the time I'm on the water, you know, being confident on the water and understanding that I can go 2-3 miles with the Jackson Gnar that I was in with absolutely no problem one way, battle big waves, you know, put the boat to use what it was, you know, what it was made for. I'm absolutely happy. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of echo that. I fished a lot of these 2 days, good spot on day, and then wheels just completely fall off. For this event, there was enough water, and definitely with the smallmouth numbers, you know, literally catching 50 to 100 fish in a day. I felt confident I could at least go in there and get, you know, 75 to 80 inches both days without any issue, and just hope I lucked into a couple, you know, 17, 18 inch fish to kind of put you over into that next little hump. But I really wouldn't have changed anything. Maybe my battery on my Tacticam before. That's about the only thing I probably would have changed out. But other than that, everything worked out, you know, as good as God could have planned it. It worked out pretty good, I think. So I probably wouldn't have changed anything for this particular derby.
Now, Jason Cassetty, you are in the Russell talked a lot about the Gnar there. You're in the old big rig. How do you have that big rig set up, and kind of what's that layout look like for you?
Well, I mean that big rig, that red boat, it's got a lot of swagger. I mean, you left a lot of swagger in that seat, and it's just now getting to its full potential, Chad. I think we got a lot of good stuff in our future. But it's I fished with the Garmin Live Scope. There was a lot of chatter about that at the awards. A lot of guys sitting there, you know, kind of staring at fish, and I try not to look at it too much during tournament days because you can get too focused on that, and you know, too much tunnel vision going on. But during practice, it helped me find a lot of different fish, a lot of schools, and more importantly, a lot of bait and a lot of big rocks. I use it more for the structure aspect and cover, and less for, like, you know, the video game fishing. I'm just not that good. So, you know, I've got that on there, and I'm a foot guy all the way. I don't use any motors during practice or anything like that. And that boat worked out great. It's stupid stable, as you guys know. I mean, I'm sure everybody on this screen right now has been in a big rig. But with the big boat traffic, the waves, and I just feel super comfortable out there, holding position without a problem. And I beat somebody in a Gnar. I don't know who I was going, you know, during that tournament, but you know, I got some endurance.
You can't talk about that.
Talk about the gym, but, man, you get out there, you're gonna have to work. You're gonna beat me by foot. You're gonna have to work. And that big rig, I mean, she might be fat, but if there's a donut out there, she's gonna go get it. You know what I mean? So
I heard you.
I really think it was you that was at the same launch I was at, man. I know we were talking about it.
Do you have like an orange and black one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was the Lovejoy ramp. Yeah.
Yeah.
His cup holders slow him down.
So that's the day, boy. I had a mission. I was gone. I couldn't small talk, boy. I was gone.
Yeah, no. Day two, I was just I knew I wasn't going far because, like, I know you saw me. We were fishing opposite points on day two, but yeah, I didn't have that far to go, and I knew there was not many people going our way. So I was just like, I'm just gonna take my time. I was like, I'm gonna pedal real fast to get over there and sit there for 25 minutes, or I could just take my time and get over there in 10 minutes and sit for 20. So I just took my time. But I will say I was surprised at how fast the Gnar was. I mean, it was actually my first time in it, and was that weekend. And, you know, I was just like barely pedaling at one point. I looked down, and, you know, said I was going like 3.5 miles an hour. And so I just kind of wanted to see, I mean, I'm old, so, you know, I just kind of wanted to see how I could go without like really kind of pushing it. Like I didn't want to kill myself to do it, right? But I picked up the pace a little bit, and at one point I was going like 4.5. I know I could have easily pushed 5 plus, and you know, I it was a Hobie event, so I couldn't. But I'm kind of anxious to get the. I do have a bow mount on my Take 2 that I use for fishing, and I'm going to mount that on the front of that as well. And you know, I was actually talking to Russ about throwing a Torpedo on the back as well, so I can choose whichever way I want to go. But man, I mean, I was really impressed with that NAR after being in the seat for just 3 days.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for me and my NAR, just half-heartedly pedaling. Been a lot of talk about that. You know, I'm pulling 4.3, and that's just at a lazy pedal. I wouldn't say that's exerting much energy at all. I feel like that's a very fair statement. How about you, Russell?
The new drive is outstanding. You know, I was fortunate enough to have it for a while now. It's outstanding. But I think what we're passing up a lot on this new NAR is the steering on it. The biggest thing I was able to do is, you know, a couple people have talked about it in the past. We're looking at something to where I can take that rudder and turn it, and it's turning this boat very fast at very slow speeds.
Yes.
So it's just amazing. You know, I'd see one of these big boulders on, you know, on one of my Garmin, and I'm able to keep it there without trying to fight this. You know, it's a big boat, but I'm not fighting. It's effortlessly. You know, it feels like it floats on the water. The belly of the boat turned, not the whole boat. So it made positioning. The drive can do, but that positioning in those waves, and you know, making sure that you're not getting these 4-foot rollers over your side. It's just kicking the rudder to the side, and this boat starts going that way. It's one of my favorite things about the boat that not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, I agree with Russ on that point. Like, there were a couple of times when, you know, fishing around boulder piles and the waves coming where I wasn't even pedaling. I stand up and fish quite a bit, but I'd just bend down and I'd move the rudder and no pedaling at all. And you're just starting to turn, right? And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. It's one thing I actually liked about having a bow mount is I can kind of do the same thing with a remote while I'm standing up without having to sit down. And you know, to Russ's point, going from the big rig to the NAR, I mean, there was definitely a noticeable difference in the turning, you know, with the NAR.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've noticed. Even when you go and you're trying to reposition a little bit and you back up, you know, the nose, when you start to back up and correct your nose, it really repositions itself a lot faster with that rudder, and the boat turns on a dime, just for what it is, as long as it is, and that rocker and that rudder really let that boat swing around and do the things that you want it to do. So with that, you guys field your own questions. Ask each other. What do you guys got for each other? Obviously, Jason Gardner might have some questions for you too. I mean, you guys are – Russell's one place out of top 10. Jason Cassetty's right there at the bottom of the top 10 with the big bass. So grill these guys, Gardner. Ask them whatever you want.
Yeah, it was funny because, like, I know where Russ was fishing. I know what he was fishing. I mean, we were talking right in the house. You know, I know now where Jason was fishing. I thought it was him. He looked familiar. But what were you throwing for bait, Jason? Were you same thing? Were you Ned rigging?
Yeah. So, early in the morning and up until they wouldn't hit it anymore, that whopper plopper right there, it's kind of got, you know, I believe these fish, I think they're feeding on perch, and everybody's always like, you know, match the hats or whatever. The first day I threw the bigger whopper plopper, like the 190 or whatever it is, and I just didn't get hit. So I downsized a little bit, and I mean, whether it be in 3 feet or 20 feet, I mean, they'd come up and blow up on it. The later the morning got, the more you had to find the shadows, edges of the boat docks, those big boulders that were just randomly sticking up. Man, you can't, I mean, this thing's tore up. It's probably cracked somewhere, I don't know, but I would hit it, just bang it off of it, and they would just come up and destroy it. And the hookup ratio, as you know, with these things on a smallmouth, it's it's dynamite. You're not losing very many. And then later on in the day, with the Winnipesaukee tournament, I throw a lot of jigs, right? And everything that we brought was lead. So, hey, whoever's on the screen, hey. Everything we had was lead. And, you know, there's this post, Joe McElroy put out a post that said, hey, just so you know, I'm like, what? So we went to trip to Bass Pro, I think, and we bought up anything lead. We bought it all up, and we going with just like a small tungsten nail weight, a skirted nail weight on it, like a Nico rig, and that's what I went with in the afternoon. And it couldn't be too heavy, or they'd spook off. I mean, you could watch that worm fall down, just a little 5-inch or a 5-inch Gary Yamamoto Cinco with a skirted nail weight on it, and you'd see it fall down, and you'd see the fish just whoop, they'd go. If it hit the bottom too fast, they were gone. I'm like, I mean, this thing's got to be falling like, I think like a foot every 2 seconds. I mean, to me, that's super slow when you're fishing in 20 foot of water. It takes forever watching that thing flutter down. So I think I ended up with a 1/16 ounce nail weight, skirted nail weight on a 5-inch Yamamoto Cinco, and that's what I caught everything with. Towards the evening, that's what the big bass came on. Was just a little Cinco.
Yeah, it was funny you say that, because I was out throwing a bone-colored whopper plopper early. I did it in practice. I did it day one, throwing shallow. I couldn't get anything to come after it. And then one of my favorite things to throw, actually, for smallmouth, especially up in the Northeast, which is why I was throwing the bone colors. I like to, throw a top water spook, and I was throwing that as well. And I just couldn't get bit on either one of them. And it's really the only color that I throw for top water up here is that bone color. And so I didn't have anything else with me. And, I was catching all my fish on, green pumpkin or goby color. So I'm not really surprised I didn't get hit, but in a way I was, especially hearing that you were throwing the whopper plopper, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I tried that one, and it's, she's big, the 6 cents walking bait there. It looked good. If I was a fish, I would have hit it, but I couldn't get them to bite it. I don't know what's going on with it, man. But I saw that in a video. Some guy that fishes a lot of tournaments up here on Winnipesaukee, YouTube searching, before the tournament. I mean, he was crushing, 4 or 5 pound largemouths on it, smallmouths on it. I'm like, I know what I'm throwing when I got up there, and it didn't happen.
I think that's a great segue into this question for you guys. So leading up to these events, I mean, we always hear how like your Elite Series pros, your MLF pros, the research and the different things that they do. Obviously, kayak fishing is the same, but it's also a little bit different because we've got a lot of different things like time management. That's a big deal in kayak fishing. What are some of the things that you guys look at, and how do you go about these events before you ever show up?
For me, it's what we're fishing for. It's smallmouth, largemouth. As we talk about time management, we also talk about storage. When I look in the garage, I got 20 rods. Ideally, I can't carry them on the boat or on the kayak. So I, look and see what I really want to target. This one is mixed. It's both largemouth and smallmouth. There's restrictions about tungsten up here. So it took a lot of my arsenal out because I didn't find out about the tungsten until the day before I was leaving on a 14-hour journey. What I did was I just went back to the basics. Everything will eat a minnow. So what do I have that I can keep off the bottom that I'm not, bending any of the regulations? So spinner baits, chatter baits, anything moving. That's where small swim baits came in. And then packing, I might pack like a lot during tournament, pre-fishing, but during tournament days, I've cut half of my gear out just to lighten the boat a little bit and and not worry about did I need that blue crankbait. I know they're natural colors. They're not eating blue crawfish like they do on the Susquehanna. I just start taking things out and minimalize, and then go with my heart more than anything. I look at places where people might not want to go to. I was a mile out in the middle of the lake on a hump that came up out of the water. It wasn't an island. It was just a giant hump, and I didn't see very many people coming out there. So I'd rather have an area to myself and figure it out where they should be just by knowing smallmouth, and instead of trying to chase largemouth back in heavy grass that I didn't know, because we all know you can go into one bay and have a parade of fish and go into the next bay, look exactly the same, and it'd be completely deserted. So I just took a chance on the smallmouth and went from there.
All right. Next in that line.
So I can say for me, as far as research when I travel, I rely a lot on YouTube, but and then Navionics. To be honest with you, I will. One of my other things that I do like to use, and some of my buddies will get mad I'm going to say this, but I like to use Google Earth because you can change dates, right?
Yep.
You can go find when there's been drought waters to find things that you can't normally find on like Google Maps and stuff like that, right? But I actually try not to do too much research, because I found, like, when I spend a whole lot of time doing research, I will talk myself into stuff that I wouldn't either normally fish, or places I wouldn't normally fish, just because I see other people doing well. When I'm targeting smallmouth, like at Winnipesaukee, similar to Ross, I go try to find humps, right? And I like to find those humps that are away from other people. I know where Jason was fishing. I know, we were fishing these points, but like, out off, I don't know, probably 400 or 500 yards out off the points we were fishing was the hump, right? It came up to like 10 feet. I've had tournaments where I just literally spent all day just fishing that hump, because fish refresh, and like I said, kind of like off the air, it goes down to like from 10 feet down to 25 feet down to 30 to 50, and usually you can find fish in there, in one of those areas. So I just try to find a spot or an area that looks like something I'm comfortable in fishing, and then I just go try to figure it out. I mean, when you go to smallmouth lakes, the fish are all the same, right? You find a hump, you'll find fish. You find grass, you'll find fish. You find bait, you find fish. So, but like I said, I try not to do too much research.
That's pretty fair. What do you got, Mr. Cassie? How do you do it out there on the road from the Love Camping Suites?
When you travel for a living and you fish for a living, you want to do everything you can, to be as prepared as you can. So I do indulge in the YouTubes. I look at fishing reports from different guides, tournament results, if there is any, something to give you a good base measure on what it takes to win a tournament, what kind of baits people are buying, they're hitting on, the dock talk, no pun intended to the show, it can be a good thing. I mean, it can help you at least push you in a general direction as far as what the forage base is, what kind of fishing, if it's smallmouth spots or largemouth, and what is, if it takes 15 pounds to win a Tuesday night, fruit jar tournament every week, I know if I can go in there and catch, a bag of 16 or 17-inch fish, I'm going to be probably doing okay. But on like Chick, a few weeks ago, if you go into practice and you're only getting 80, 85 inches, kind of like what we did in this tournament, you're going to finish in 30-something place like I did on Chick. You're not going to have a shot at it. But 80, 85 inches here, it's going to move you up pretty quick. So I try to soak in as much as I can, filter out the garbage. So at least I have a good image of what the lake looks like. I do the Google Earth. You look at the drought so you can see the humps. I like to look at the floods. So, there's a lot of stuff that's successful. One place I really wanted to fish, sorry if that guy on the golf cart was loud, camp life, but there's some backwaters that you can obtain or get to during certain water levels. And if the water level was normal at Winnipesaukee, there was a backwater I could have got to that would have gave me about a 40-acre area to access. But I think that water level there was down a little bit, just judging by that pollen line that was on a lot of the docks or trees or rocks around the lake. And you can't get out of your kayak for this tournament at all to access water. There's no portaging. And I tried to use my bending branches paddle to push that big rig over, a sandy little flat. It had about an inch of water on it. And it just wasn't happening without me getting out of the boat. So I wrote it off, and, doing your research and seeing those things, it's like, man, if I could have got back there, that could have been the juice, because ain't any boats getting back there at all. If a kayak can't get back there, ain't no V-bottom walleye boat or bass boat, whatever they got out there on Winnipesaukee, going to access it. So I use everything. If it's out there, I'll use
it. I think.
Hey, so
I could have found a boat to push you back there. Believe me, we had 100 boats that come by me that would have raised the water level for you by 2 or 3 feet.
Just floating right on across.
Just
man,
right back in there, fresh water and all. But the water, going back to Chick, I fished a BOS down to Chick also, and you get ledge fishing. So what do? I buy everything for ledge fishing. And I got out of my comfort zone, and that's why I ended up where I did. Second day, I did bad the first day to where I made myself physically sick because I know I can fish better than that. The second day, I just went fishing, and that's where I pulled together a limit. It's nice to find out all this information, but for me, I need to stick to what I know, and that's where I feel more comfortable, because confidence is I think, one of the number one factors in fishing. We're seeing that here, and I hate to say it, I'm fishing our local BOS or local bass series. I have 2 wins and a third, and we haven't touched a river yet. I'm a moving water guy, and it's discouraging some of the other anglers, but I'm also the angler to say, come fish with me and let's learn together, because what Jason knows, I don't know. What I know, Jason may not know. So I still love that. When I said it's nice to finish 11th, it's nice to cash a check. It's also nice to learn and have the fellowship of the kayak angling community that we use. Everywhere I go, I meet other Jackson team members, and not one of them have shot a shoulder or anything else. A lot of them might know me by face, and I don't know them by face or by name or by boat. So I don't evolve in a whole lot of research, man. I'm there for just to meet people. We were joking the other day. Jim Salmon said he can't wait to hug Gene. I'm still one of the very few people to call Gene Cold Guinness, and that goes back 9-10 years now. And I said she gives a great hug, because that's the first thing I did to that lady was give her a hug when I got to Florida. We have a great community, and that's what it's about. The fishing is just a bonus for me.
Yeah, and like you and Gardner were staying in the same area. That does go a long way when you've got that camaraderie and that group of people that you can talk to and mesh ideas with and bounce things off of. And I think that's important for anybody getting into the sport of fishing, whether it is a big boat or a kayak or even wading the creek or whatever. It's important to get out there with somebody and just see how they do it. A lot can be learned just being there and having a conversation about it on the water or off the water. You can really pick up a lot of things. And for events like this, it goes a long way when you guys are out there. Russell, you was talking about ledge fishing. I was in Jason Cassetty's ear telling him to get out there on a ledge and throw a crankbait like 8 million times while he was at Chickamauga, and not a crankbait, a Carolina rig. You got to throw the Carolina rig. He never did do it, I don't think. But, that's, where, fishing your strengths and having confidence in something can go a long way. It really can.
Yeah. So, not to change the subject, but I see in the comments someone was asking what's hanging behind me. So, I don't know what exactly Wes is wants to know which is hanging behind me, but I got like my bait wall. So I got half my bait wall is full of Z-Man plastics. I throw most Z-Man more than anything when it comes to soft plastics. Over on this side, I've got battle bait stuff. It's just a custom bait maker. I throw a lot of his baits. His paint jobs are incredible. The only jigs I throw, only Ned heads I throw, spinner baits. I've made a lot of money off of battle bait stuff. Right above me, I got some of my Megabass stuff. I'm a little bit of a Megabass JDM snob. I buy a lot of collector stuff. I don't use a lot of their stuff. I prefer to collect it, working on a display case for some of my more rare stuff and whatnot. That I don't know. It's weird. It's just one of those things that I got into. And then up above that, I got some more Z-Man. For the most part, for chatterbaits, I throw are jackhammers. I get about 3 colors of jackhammers I throw. I don't know. There's probably about 50 or 60 of them up there, but I stock up all throughout the year. But that's what I got hanging in back of me. And then I got I kind of got away from Plano boxes for a while, just because I don't know, they do take up some room. So they came out with these bags. They got small bags and larger bags. So I throw soft plastics in there. They're great to hold spinner baits. Those battle bait spinner baits come in like a bag, so I can keep them flat and just kind of stack a whole bunch in there without needing a traditional like box or anything to put them in. But it saves a ton of room, especially when you're in a kayak. So the fact that I can hang them up helps too, because it gives me a place to store a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, Chris Payne's in the comments now. He's saying jackhammers cash checks, and he is not wrong. Caught a drum on one last night, bud, in case you wanted to know. They'll catch anything that swims.
Yeah, my trailer license plate on my kayak trailer is jackhammer.
So as we kind of get close to the end here, let's you guys got any questions for each other? Anything else that you guys want to pick each other's brain about?
Where's the next place we're all fishing together? Jason, I haven't met you, but let's share the water.
Either you guys going back to Winnipesaukee in August? Yeah, I'll be there. So,
Cassidy, did you make it into the Susquehanna?
Not yet. I'm still on that list.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty deep, unfortunately. But I think we might go to the Fox and Wolf River in Wisconsin. Like Pickwick for the bass.
Are you doing the KBF on St. Clair?
Yeah. We'll do the St. Clair KBF, and there's a KB or a KFL. The Indianapolis Knights versus Detroit is also on St. Clair. So we'll be up there for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Very good. How about you, Jason Gardner? Where are you off to next?
I actually got a bunch of KFL events coming up, and then myself, another one of our Jackson teammates, Ken Wood, and a buddy of ours, Adam Rourke. We run a regional series up here, Elite Kayak Fishing. We have an event in Massachusetts on the Connecticut River, and then we'll be on Winnipesaukee in August. And then I got the local trail, which I run here as well. So my schedule is pretty packed going through. But my travel events are actually coming. Like I said, don't have very many of those left. So.
How about you, Russell? What you got?
I'm here in the restaurant. I'm in my back right now. But for me, I got a couple of BOSs left. Looking for the Susquehanna, about 3 hours from me. I got our PA Bass Nation. We rounded out the lake fishing that we're going to be doing all rivers. I got 3 of those events left: the Susquehanna, the Youghiogheny, and then the Allegheny rivers. I'm going to try to slide out to the KBF Detroit, Toledo, Ohio event. That's a unique one because it's multiple bodies of water, 2 lakes and a river basically. And then I might, depending on how I do at the Susquehanna, after having a solid finish with the BOS. Ultimately, my goal is to get into TOC. But if I place well and can't get into TOC there, I'll probably go out to the Fox River.
Right on. All right. So as we close this thing out, what I like to do is let you guys go around the room, thank the people you need to thank, tell the people where to find you guys, find out more about you on the social media side of things.
All right. First, I want to thank everyone that kind of supports what we do, right? Jackson Kayak. I want to thank Dakota Lithium Batteries, Three Bells Outfitters. Probably I've been buying kayaks from them since I got into the business. The only place I've ever really bought kayaks from. Right, the kayaks are all the same, but the people that are that sell you the kayaks are different, right? And they support the trails that we do and the sport more than really anybody else I've seen. So really want to thank Three Bells, Yak Attack, Battle Baits, Flint. Like I said, I'm not really affiliated with them much, but that guy just makes bait. I've been buying stuff off of him since 2016, I think 2017. Want to thank Catch, Duke, West Camp at Catch, and that's about it. As far as where to find me on social media, mostly on Facebook. I do have a Instagram account, Obsessive Compulsive Fishing. I'm not on there as much as I used to be, but I do post there from time to time. So.
Russell.
First and foremost, I want to thank the wife. She holds it down while I'm away. She lets me go play for her. I need to thank Jackson Kayak, from everybody from the top to the bottom. This kayak that I'm fishing in is special because the team has our input. We couldn't, I couldn't feel comfortable without something that I enjoy. But not only is it U.S. made, me being a vet, it's handmade with love from the input of the staff and the fishing team. My local dealer, I couldn't have got into this without Neil and Evelyn from the River's Edge. They are hands down, they're a Jackson dealer, but they deal with a lot of other boats. They're family. They become family. It's like a mom and a dad. As Jason Gardner said, who you deal with. These shops are pertinent to our industry, just like a boat dealer is to the bass industry. I got Falk's Custom Crankbaits. Nick and Monica, congratulations on your wedding. He supports me with any kind of jerk bait, crankbait, any kind of moving bait I need. I have Fishing Online. I gotta look the right way. They got everything. They have a hard store, which I'm close enough to get to, but a lot of mail order stuff. If I mail here at the house, it's at the house the next day. If you're on the road, they can drop ship stuff to you. They have a large assortment of baits, tackle, rigging gear, rods, reels, paddles, everything you need there. I like to thank my staff at the Steel Plate. They hold it down while I'm not gone. While I'm gone, and while I'm not gone, they hold it down. But Chad, this is a great forum to share, like stories, meet each other, and this is a great format for me. I like talking versus writing, and I think it allows us to have a good conversation like me and Jason Gardner had this weekend. It's not about drinking beer, getting drunk. It's about talking about the boat, the tackle. This is first weekend in the NAR. I've got a couple months in the NAR, and looking at him and talking about rigging, that's just it's therapeutic.
Absolutely. How about you, Jason Cassetty? What you got for us?
Well, I'm a religious guy, so my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ first, and then obviously Nicole. She holds it down here. She holds it down when we travel. She holds it down everywhere. She's an incredible woman, and I'm super blessed to have her in my life. Jackson Kayak, Chad, thank you for the boat. That boat is awesome. Orion Coolers, and just moving on down the line. Rogue Disc. Jason, I saw some disc golfing in some of your photos. You throw the plastic
you guys
around.
creeping on each other?
Yeah, so I actually love
Yeah.
I love to play, but I'm terrible at it. My son, though, man, he's an inspiration, man. He's been playing for like a year and a half. He started getting into tournaments,
Awesome.
so I actually gave up some of my fishing tournaments so I could go take him to disc golf tournaments, and he's picked it up quick. But yeah, I love to go throw plastic.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to connect you with roguedisc.com, they're definitely the best place to throw plastic. Jackson is the best place to sit it and catch fish. Little Miami, LM Rods, Brandon Palmer, he makes a stupid good rod. It's what I caught everything on here and then at Chick. $149 right now. He's got a good deal going on, just about anything you could want. Awesome price for a custom built rod. Discount Tire Company. I actually retired from there. An awesome company, keeps us on the road as far as tires. Who else we got? Planet Fitness keeps us fit in the gym. Helps us beat them NARS out there until I get my feet on one of those Mark IVs. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do what I gotta do with what I got. So
You have to
I'm
do
out
the
there.
Josh Stewart method and take the sledgehammer to
it. Jackson's actually sending me a new drive because I've got a little bit of leakage of some grease, and I mean it was just a simple email and no questions asked. Jackson warranty department on top of it. They got a new drive coming my way. So again, thank you to Jackson. The whole crew over there has been super awesome. My kids, my family, I love everybody. Dry Creek Baits, they make a stupid good selection of soft plastics if you're in the need for that. And Tackle Service Center in Mooresville, awesome company. Bobby over there builds custom built jigs, spinner baits, anything you want, he'll custom build it for you. And Black Dog Brewing Company. It ain't always about getting drunk and having a beer, but if you're going to do it with Black Dog. You know what I mean? Hey, it's silly good. It's silly good. I got an Orion cooler full of them. If you come down to St. Clair or up to St. Clair, whichever way you got to travel to get there, we got a deal hooked up. Mike Iaconelli, he didn't beat me, so he's gonna be drinking some Black Dog beer, and I'm still probably gonna try out that Founders while I'm in town. See what it's all about. But yeah, we'll hook up, and anybody want to drink some good beer, I'm your guy. Come on, see me.
Very much so. All right. And as we're closing this thing out, reminding everybody at home, visit JacksonKayak.com to find your local Jackson Kayak dealer. We have 15% off right now at your local dealer on select models. Head out, check them out, and get you a new boat. You deserve it. You've been patient all winter long. It's time for a new boat. Yeah. So with that, everybody wave at the camera. We're going to close this thing out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll have this live streaming in 1 week on the Orion Podcast channel. See you guys soon.
Peace.